Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're talking about Daredevil, The Devil Inside and Out, Volume 2, or Daredevil, The Devil Takes a Ride. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Today we're talking about Daredevil. I talked maybe one or two videos ago about Ed Brubaker's first arc on the book. This is his second one, so it's a little confusing because the trade paperback trade dress says it's The Devil Inside and Out, Volume 2, like even inside the chapter pages, right? That's kind of... It is the exact follow-up to the Matt Murdock in prison storyline that we explored in the last volume. But when you're opening it up inside, Matt Murdock's not in prison. He's gallivanting around the world. And that arc is called The Devil Takes a Ride. So, and it's really here that it's like pretty clear, this clear like incongruency of what the book is actually called or what it should be titled, that maybe Brubaker didn't really know what he was doing. I spent a lot of time talking in the last video about how you didn't need to read, any of the run before that to really understand what was going on in that arc. Unfortunately, that is not the case here for this arc. The ultimate string puller of all this stuff is unveiled, and it has everything to do with everything that happened in Bendis' run right here in my Ultimate Collections that I did a video on previously. And unfortunately, that sucks. The big reveal in terms of like just being in Brubaker's run is like a big letdown. Now, maybe, it's been a couple of months since I've read the Bendis stuff. So maybe if I had just read it and I went directly into Brubaker's stuff, I would have enjoyed it more because I would have had a better memory of those events and things like that. Unfortunately, there's no recap or anything like that. Hell, Brubaker doesn't even summarize what exactly happened in the last run. So if you picked up that first storyline and you're like, man, this is fucking awesome, and you go and pick out this one, you might be a little bit lost because this one relies a whole lot on history that's not explained in the book. So I think for that reason, this is pretty bad, honestly. Even the whole thing of Foggy being alive, how that's explained is not really explained. And it seems like the mastermind that's pulling the strings behind everything is just so happens to be pulling every single string around Matt. And the reveal of who it is and how they're doing it and why they're doing it is just so haphazard and ho-hum that it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, literally, there are no clues to who this person is. There are 3 issues in here before we get to that big, Pinocchio reveal of the Puppet Master, where Matt is following this woman around, Lily, and thinks she has something to do, and ultimately you're just following her story with her problems being kidnapped and things versus actually finding clues on who's pulling the strings. And it's not until like that moment that Matt walks in the door and opens up his eyes, so to speak, I know he's blind, and goes, oh, it's you. And that's where his realization comes through, but it's never apparent to the reader, so it's not really a great mystery in that sense. So I think this is just something that was like, honestly, it feels like a little contrived. Like, it feels like maybe Brubaker wanted to take Matt Murdock on a tour of Europe for some reason, and then needed a villain and just kind of came up with one that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it does kind of set up things for the future of his run, I believe, with the Kingpin and all that. But even that just happens so fast in one issue that it just feels kind of empty. Like Bendis would have made a whole arc out of that, what happens with the Kingpin in this volume. And it would have been a great courtroom scene, trial scene, lawyer scene, like at least a couple of issues. In here, I think we get all of, 3 or 4 pages out of it. So it just feels like a letdown in what could have been a really interesting story. So maybe Brubaker wasn't interested in telling that kind of story in Daredevil and wanted to do the more superheroic side. I'm currently in the middle of the Ultimate Collection Volume 2 that happens after this one, and that is a little bit better, honestly. This was a real big letdown to have such a big mystery of who's pulling the strings in the prison riot with Matt, with the Punisher, with Foggy in witness protection, and also hiring Danny Rand to be the other Daredevil. Like, all that stuff comes from one person? Are you kidding me? It just feels a little convenient that it's all kind of tied up neatly in a bow, so to speak, but in a unsurprising, unsatisfying way. So, you know, this one, big letdown, big letdown. The art's still good, don't get me wrong. The art is still good, but man, the story after that first volume to fall so far, so fast in this one is a huge disappointment. So let me know what you guys thought of this storyline, if you remember reading it or if you've read it recently, down below in the comments. We'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.